Hey everyone, in the fish room today, working on a project. I've cleaned out one of my tanks and I've got a bare slate. I'm about to start scaping this guy and getting it ready. It's been empty here for a few days. Kind of been just, I did a massive clean and soak, and so it's not often that you have kind of a bare bones tank and an opportunity to rescape. This was the Orange Line Guppy tank, and it had Eco-Complete substrate, and then a couple of the Java Fern little projects attached to the terracotta pot bottoms or saucers, I guess they are. And about a month ago, I spotted one orange line with dropsy. So of course I pulled that girl out. She died, and the rest subsequently all started to go down with very similar symptoms. They had a lot of body swelling. Maybe I think only the first female ever had kind of that pine cone scale look, but a lot of them started to develop kind of almost like cancerous lesions under the surface, lesions along their midline, white nodules, and those would eventually burst, and the fish would die. It was absolutely horrendous. And so what I had done is early on, when I only had maybe that first female, I pulled her out. I saw a second fish, or maybe even two fish with symptoms. I kind of I pulled out a portion of the colony and I moved them to the tank where I used to have my Giardinas and my Limias. Now they moved, unfortunately they all turned out to be males, but they were healthy. I moved them in with the porthole live bears for the time being, and used their tank almost as a quarantine tank. And I figured the tank that they were in, which was kind of the Crip Meadow tank, was the cleanest. It was always the tank that I had the least water problems with, and I can show you that tank now. So I moved my orange line, my first remnants. I pulled out half a dozen, and you can still see I've got still a bunch in here, and basically everyone who made it in here has not died. I have not seen any symptoms. I check all the time, but I have not seen any. I've got a few babies in there, and so, but I did lose this. This is only about a third of the colony, maybe a half. I just pulled out the best looking, healthiest, youngest fish. They're just now starting to get into breeding age, and they're looking really nice. But I'm super nervous. They're just they seem to be so requiring clean water, and of course I can't really zoom in on them, but they're doing great. And that tank itself looks really good. So I've been doing kind of 10%, 15% water changes on this tank every few days. Just really going the extra mile, trying to keep them clean, making sure there's no symptoms, that I haven't seen any, and thankfully I have not. So hopefully that's the end of my problems there. Lesson learned. And I think a lot of the stress started, number one, I had a couple issues in this tank up here. Number one, I think the substrate was too thick. I basically had a bag of Eco-Complete and maybe a half. I pulled out Eco-Complete from another tank and had a bare bottom tank there. So I just kind of used up the Eco-Complete, threw it in here. Not a good idea, I don't think. I think I had just maybe even anaerobic conditions down towards the bottom. It was very hard to clean. And then I had this thing so chock full of Java fern that I think just a single sponge filter was not enough. So if I'd had maybe a batten filter or something, or even a hang on the back, or even an under gravel filter, anything else, I might not have had the problems. But I kind of learned a lesson. I threw a second, when I cleaned this tank out, I put a second one on there just for precaution, get some better current, airflow, better bacterial biofiltration. So we'll see how this tank does. Now, one of the things while I'm here and I've got all my tools for rescaping this thing out is I thought I'd show off some of the stuff that I think is pretty important for doing tanks and cleaning out tanks. And so one of the tools I've got is you should have one of these, or these wire mesh strainers. You can buy them at the kitchen store. It's stainless steel, super nice, has this little lip, so if you want to find, you can find something like just these Tupperware, I don't know, sauce tins, but these fit perfectly like that in there. So I use it for cleaning out substrate, so you can scoop the substrate and then drain a lot of the water out and move it and move it wherever. I also use this a lot of times for doing my rinsing on bloodworms. So when I'm feeding bloodworms, I'll thaw them in this Tupperware and then pour them into this and kind of rinse them in the sink, get all the gunk off them, and then go ahead and chop them up and go ahead and feed them. So I think these are key tools for the fish room. And then kind of, since I'm showing off these guys down here and planted tank tips, since I've got this Lutea crypt that's just carpeting away and just really thick, it becomes a little bit of a challenge to do a vacuum in here and get a siphon going, because you don't want to smash your plant stems really well, but you do want to kind of clean up the gravel. So I don't want to get my finger, but I'm going to move to my left hand here. So one of the things I found is super useful in the fish room is, of course, a turkey baster. And the reason I use this is I'll come in here when I know I'm going to do a water change on this, and I'll just kind of get this in here, and I'll do a little bit of this just around the bottom, kind of get the mulm. And I think this is good because it kind of cleans up around the roots, it breaks up the stuff. I'll just kind of you don't want to do it so hard. I'm giving it just baby puffs, but I'll just come in here and kind of do this, kind of stir it up a little bit. And when you're in an open spot, you can kind of do a better. But anyways, so then I can come up through and vacuum those out, and really, I think for planted tanks that's super handy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start scaping this guy, get him ready for some new inhabitants. I did go to the fish store today. I've got some new substrate, so I took the Eco Complete out. I'm going to go with this product. I've got it in there with my lace brackies, and I like it. It's lightweight, it's nice, the plants seem to grow well. I've got good growth. It's from Japan, it's from Azu, and it's just called Plant Grower Bed. So whatever that is translated, I'm sure that may be a mistranslation, or maybe close. So, and then I've got some stem plants that I'm going to do, and some driftwood, so that I had. So I haven't ever used this piece, so we're going to go ahead and get this going, and I'll show you part 2 in a little bit. All right, bye. Okay, so this is the Scape, how it's turned out. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's a bit of a return to stem plants for me. I haven't had any stem plants in quite a while, so I'm going to go ahead and give them another try. I've had varying degrees of success. I would say that Bacopa and the milfoils have worked well for me. Some of the others have not. So this is my second attempt with Blixa japonica. I absolutely failed, maybe even my third attempt. I want that thing to work so bad. I'm hopeful that changing into this substrate is going to help. But I've got some, I don't know exactly know the species on this. It looks like a type of milfoil, which I've had in the past. And then I've got the Alternathera Reneki over here, which is kind of the, it's got kind of a maroon bottom to the leaf and kind of an olive top. There is some melt going on, so, but the roots look good. I hope that looks nice. It's almost a little gaudy for me, but we'll see how it, once it starts to kind of grow and make new plants, how that looks. But overall, it's a pretty basic tank. I don't want to get too complicated, and I just really want to start working on some of the stem plants and see how they do. I have had pretty good success with Bacopa, but I didn't want to go that route. This time I want to try something different. So there it is. So the other thing that we've got is, so this tank has been about 5 days in now, set up. I've got the existing sponge filter that was in here. I've got a new one in the back, and the fish have arrived. So I thought I would show an unboxing video. I bought these from a gentleman by the name of Steve, and off Aquabid, and I am excited to see how these look. This is a live bearer species. It's kind of been on my wish list for a while. Wanted to play around with it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open this up and show you guys what's in here. And again, I love that, live fish. So as you can see, I already cracked the lid, and it's really toasty inside. You can see he's got a heat bag. Where these fish came from, it's probably pretty cold right now. Here in California, it's a nice 68 degrees outside, feeling really nice. So, but that really does, you can feel the box itself is just, it's not hot, it's just nice, and really nice and warm. So, let's open this up, and I'll show these guys off. Oh wow, there they are. So, and it's interesting, you know, a lot of, we've all kind of gone to the breather bags for shipping fish, but I like the double bagged if you can do it, if it's a short term. You know, you can see they've got a nice swim run when they're in these kind of long, skinny bags like this. Excuse my hands in the frame. But they all look really, really nice. So these are my first, going to be my first goody species. This is the blue-tailed goody. And I know the species name is tower eye. Let me look at my notes here. It's Ateniobius, I guess, is how you pronounce it. And they've got, the males have a baby blue, kind of electric blue tail. The fish themselves kind of have a grayed, gosh, it's hard to see in the bag. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get these on a drip, and we'll see if we can start getting them into the tank. Then you can probably see them better. So I'll continue the video. But it looks like I bought 8 and I've got 10, which I love. I always love a few extras just in case something happens, or it's just nice. Oh man, they look great. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to get them on a drip and go email Steve and let him know his fish arrived great through the mail. And I'll continue where I left off. Okay, it's been almost an hour, and I've gone ahead and done a drip and put the fish in, and they're looking great. There's, as near as I can tell, there's one kind of mature male. Looks like there's a couple mature females. They're interesting fish because for a live bearer, and again, I've got a number of other species, but I've never had a goodie before. They're very different in shape from the other fish that I've got. They're almost like a trout in their body type, which is really interesting. And I did not expect them to be such a surface water fish. We'll see how they do over time. It could be that they're just hungry and hoping for a meal. You can see the male there. His color is on his tail is just kind of coming in. It'll probably improve over the next few days, but they are really neat. And I've really wanted to play around with some of the fish in this genus. So they're looking really good. And I hope, you know, as the tank, try to keep this open area in the front. And I'll back up just a tad. But my hope is just to kind of fill, if I can get the Blixa to grow, kind of just fill in around the log in the middle of the tank. Just keep kind of the openness for this fish, and just fill basically the back corner and the center with some of the stem plants, and kind of keep them trimmed as they fill in as well. But these are great looking fish. I'm really excited to finally have these guys and start learning what they need. So I'm going to get this video made and up. It's been a while since I've got a video on YouTube, so I hope all of you are doing well, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.